Well, hello friends, I am back again, and if you've been watching my videos, you may see several with me in this shirt now that I am pumping out a lot more videos based on so many of the video requests I have received from you guys. And as you can tell, 2019, I'm like, let's do all of the videos. So anyway, that means sometimes I do a couple snippets of different videos in one day. And yeah, I'm loving this new shirt I got from Zulily. So I am making, as you will see in my large family meals of the week video, I'm doing another big batch in my 22-quart stock pot of some Trim Healthy Mama meal chili. Over a week ago, I asked, I think maybe it's been 2 weeks ago now, I asked for questions on Instagram, and I think there's a ton of them. So while I'm doing this chili, I'm going to also answer questions. I'm envisioning that we might actually get to sit out on the porch some and have kind of like some country porch chats too. I don't know how many videos answering these questions will take. I don't know that I'm going to be able to answer all of them. There's 206 questions. Well, I'm laughing at Instagram questions. One of my friends, and she's my friend in real life, her Instagram handle is Bites of Memory, and she said, if you were going to catch a possum with your bare hands, how would you do that? And I would say, I am Liam's mama, so I'd figure it out. Then she said, LOL joke, okay. What is your biggest tip for homeschooling high school? Biggest tip for homeschooling high school, and of course I'm gonna try to answer these on the fly. There's a group on Facebook called It's Not That Hard to Homeschool High School. And there's also a speaker and a blogger, her name is Lee Benz, and I will link her site down in the comments below. She used to be called the Home Scholar. And I'm trying to think now, it may be now Homeschooling High School. Look down below because I will Google my way through it. But Lee has tons of books on homeschooling high school, and I agree a lot with what I've heard her say over the years. I always refer mamas to her, especially mamas with like middle schoolers if they haven't homeschooled high school yet and it just seems really overwhelming. I would point them in her direction, and her whole online voice is encouraging mamas who are homeschooling high school. So my biggest tip, like the quick thing I would say, is the name of that Facebook group. It's Not That Hard to Homeschool High School. I'm only on my second high school experience, but we made it through one time. We're halfway through with the second time. I'm really big on getting these kids a ton of resources based on their interest and their natural bend and feeding that to them as much as possible. Of course, I like to do that at all the ages, but I think high school is the time to really pour into those interests. So with my oldest son, you know, he got his first camera at 8, but high school was all about the camera equipment and the lenses and the books and the resources and just like feeding that interest that has now, up to this point, become his business and his little sliver of adulthood thus far. And also, because I feel like this may come up, I'll just answer this question whether it was asked on Instagram or not, but I know as far like in my state of Virginia, if you look on Home Educators Association of Virginia website, all these links, I'm just gonna have like 100 links in the description, I can tell already, but they have a scope and sequence for the high school years, and that is what I eyeball heavily during these high school years. So I guess I will stop there to see if there's other specific questions. Let's go to the phone. Let's go to the Instagram post. I think what I'm gonna do, looking at all these questions, I think I'm going to go through because I need to like make dinner while I'm answering these questions. So the vision is I'm gonna set up my chopping stuff, and I'm gonna chop and talk. And so it'll probably be some of me looking down, but I think I'm gonna group these questions by categories. There's a lot of homeschooling questions, which is awesome because I love to talk about homeschooling. And I think there's a bunch of motherhood questions, my other topic. And then there might be some food questions, and then business questions. I have a lot of business questions, which is great. I love talking about, okay, motherhood, homeschooling, all this food, a whole lot of encouraging moms, and Jesus, and business. So we're gonna have some category videos. Okay, let's see if I can do this. We're chopping purple onion. I'm not gonna chop while I read, but I'll chop while I talk. I can do that. Ree with Kids asked, have you ever used a Becca likes or dislikes? I have never used a Becca homeschool curriculum. I know a lot of Christian schools use it, and I do have friends who use it. I can think of one friend in particular who has used it. I believe they have, pretty sure, tell me in the comments, they have a video option program, and she has used either the complete curriculum video option some years with some kids, or she has used the video option for single subjects such as spelling, and she has really enjoyed it. I'm pretty sure maybe 2 years ago she used the kindergarten curriculum with one child start to finish for the year. So speaking for another mama, but no, I have never used Abeka, but I've certainly heard the name. Another mama asked me, she said she's currently doing, now I'm taking out the name of the homeschool curriculum that she mentioned because I don't want to go to homeschool curriculum jail, right? Haha. But she said that she's currently using a very structured curriculum with her 5-year-old, and she doesn't feel like she can put the time in that she needs because she has 2 younger children. She asked me in her question, she says, have you ever done a structured curriculum like that? And she says she's, again, just having trouble getting it all done. So, trip down memory lane. When I first started homeschooling my one little wiggly boy at age 5, we're peeling an onion right now, and I had a toddler, I started out using a very structured curriculum. It was all workbook based, and I didn't know what I was doing. What I always tell mamas is I feel like it takes a good 3 years, in my experience, and I've heard a few other moms tell me this, felt like it took 3 years to felt like we found what worked for us, which is still a lot of the ways we homeschool to this day. It took 3 years to like get comfortable in my homeschool mom's skin. And so the first year, we were doing the rigid, structured, predetermined curriculum. It was miserable. He cried, I cried, we all cried. I wrote a blog post about this, and it was called Letting Go and Letting God, How the Lord Took Over Our Homeschool. And that's a fun trip down memory lane blog post too. And in that blog post, I share the story on how, you know, I had this wiggly boy and he wasn't holding the pencil right, and you know, school was just hard on both of us all day, every day. It was just miserable, and it just wasn't what I wanted it to be. Wasn't sure what I wanted it to look like yet. Didn't have the full vision for it because I was just starting to live it, peeling the skin off this onion now. But wanted to see what this was gonna look like. Liam, you're doing a great job cleaning that counter. Back then, there wasn't like homeschool blogs and videos and such as there is now. There was a few homeschool magazines I got, and I was reading articles in there. I remember there was this one mom, and I want to say she was in Alaska, and she had 5 children, and they did these things called read-alouds all the time, and they did art, and they just did, you know, nature walks and all these beautiful things, and I didn't know how to get to there from where I was, but I knew there had to be a way. I was like, okay, I'm homeschooling, and I thought I knew what this looked like. I better start reading some books on this, and I better start really finding a way. If I'm gonna do this for many, many years to come, I better figure out how to make it work for us. Okay, and so I read the Ruth Beechek books. The link will be down in the description below. She has an excellent book called The 3 R's, and she was actually, she didn't homeschool, but she is a homeschool advocate and wrote several excellent homeschooling books. So Ruth Beechek, her books really encouraged me to focus on reading, writing, and math. Early on, reading, writing, and math. Every day, reading, writing, and math. So I didn't necessarily have to put the pressure on myself at 5 years old to also be doing a science curriculum and a social studies curriculum, and I'm trying to think, geography curriculum. A lot of those topics can be worked within additional subjects, especially read-alouds, because whenever we're reading aloud, we can multitask many subjects. We can travel all the way around the world through great stories and different time periods. And so Ruth Beechek books really just lit a fire under me to focus on reading, writing, and math. It made me feel like that was okay. Again, we wouldn't have to have a full health curriculum at 5 years old. So much of that can be incorporated through daily life. Then I also read another book by Clay and Sally Clarkson called Educating the Wholehearted Child. I love that book. I read it once, and then since Travis and I, you know, homeschool mom and dad in our first few years, I kept talking about it so much. We were in the car one day and I just started reading it to him, and I ended up, we did it as a family read aloud, and I read that book to Travis, and we were like, yes, see, that's what we want. And it was just talking about creating a family culture around the Lord and our love for the Lord, and excellent books and the Bible and all the things that are important to our family life. So also within that time, and through various online resources, I think back then there was a website about homeschooling I found, and it was A to Z Homeschooling. I'll also link it down in the description below. But she had articles that I started to find about homeschooling, and there'd be articles on there about unit studies and interest-based learning and delight-directed learning. And I was like, yeah, that's what I want. My 5-year-old does not want to sit and do dry workbooks for hours and hours a day. We need a vivid learning time. So I remember one of the first studies I did with little Jaden way back then, age 5, first year, was we did a whole study on bats. He loved bats. So we got every book we could on bats. We went to an underground cave in our area where we live that also has bats at different times of year. We built a bat house. He did a bat project for our homeschool project fair. We wore bats out. We did all the bat things all the time. And with that, we were able to incorporate a lot of other learning. So just to say, I learned that year that someone else's rigid structure wasn't going to fit the needs of my child or my family. Another concern that this mom had was about putting the time in because she has 2 younger children. And I told her, I don't like doing a rigid schedule made by someone else. That wouldn't work well for me. When I was only homeschooling a 5-year-old, we did a bulk of his core work during nap time, and any extra help he would need we would do in the evening. So yes, whenever we would have our reading, writing, math time, if I was having trouble getting that done with the 2-year-old, or later when I was pregnant, we would focus on core things during small children's nap time, and then also in the evening time if we needed to revisit math, or if we needed to put some more time in with phonics, we could do that during unconventional hours. Okay, another mom asked, you've spoke briefly about traveling for a year. Could you give us a little about how you homeschooled your kiddos at that time? I had worked as a nurse also outside of the home the first couple years that we homeschooled, and then by our 3rd year of homeschooling, Travis was a licensed electrician, and he worked for a company that had a decent wage for our area, but we were like, you know, we heard of electricians making more at different locations. Even different companies in our area at that time. So he put his application out, and we just thought, you know what? Let's see if you could find something making a few more dollars an hour, because that's always helpful, doing the same thing you're already doing. So he put his application out, and actually what he ended up getting was he got a job contract through Homeland Security, and it was to travel around doing the security systems in weapons vaults for the National Guard. And the travel was not far away travel necessarily. I think the farthest we went was Tennessee. A lot of the work was within our own state, but it was several hours away from home. And so he was reimbursed the money for his hotel every week, and he was also reimbursed a certain amount every day for his food. And so at that time we were a family of 5. Jaden must have been 7, Zion was 4, and Naomi was just turning 2. I think I have that right. With that job opportunity, we quickly learned that the kids and I, because we homeschooled, we could pack up and go with them for the week. And that's exactly what we did. And I always love to find the best deals and fun activities and things to go and see and do. And I always love doing it on a budget. The way we were able to travel is we stayed at Marriott Residence Inns a lot. And at those hotel rooms, they have like the bedroom section, and then the living room with the fold-out couch, and then the kitchen. And it was just set up very nice. We were very comfortable, again, for a family of 5. Now when we go like that, we have to get 2 of those rooms adjoining or something to be slightly comfortable for the night. We went to different locations. We really got to see around our own state. We went with Travis to the Richmond, Virginia area, and we were probably there for like 3 months or so. So we really got to learn Richmond and take advantage of that. We also were near some different lakes at different points we had never been to. We spent several months down in Tennessee, in the Kingsport, Tennessee area, and when we were there, we went to the Smoky Mountains, and I found this park that had, I don't know, a lake and like a wildlife rescue thing there, and I found like every playground. Wherever we went, I found all the playgrounds within our radius, all the parks, all the museums, any amusement parks. When we were in Richmond, we did Busch Gardens several days a week, and then all the Richmond museums. So we were able to do that for a full year. And how we did our homeschooling was all day, every day, I packed up the 3 kids and we went and explored. As you can tell, if there was something to see and do, there's different places we would be, and they would have similar to like the Frontier Culture Museum, or some places would have a dollar movie theater. When we were in Richmond also, we spent a lot of time going down to Virginia Beach and doing beachy things. It was just a great year. And that was after our first 2 years of homeschooling, where I was still working 30 to 40 plus hours a week. And I was ready to lay that down and be done with it, because ultimately I just want to be a mama and be home with my kids. And so we decided in the beginning, so the nice part of being a nurse is that I could go PRN, and Travis was making a lot more doing this government contract, as much as both of us working together at jobs back home in the country. So I was able to put my hours down to PRN, and if we had a week where the kids and I came home, or a weekend, and if I wanted to, because what I would do is when we would come home, I would pick up a nursing shift or 2, and then the money that I would make from that, I would use that for our next time going out. That would be our fun exploring money. And just lots of good memories for that. So we explored every day, and at that point Jaden was in his 3rd year, so we would do his reading, his writing, and his math in the evenings. We would also do some weekend homeschooling, and so between all the exploring, and we've always kept read alouds up, because by then we knew we were a read aloud family. So it was really fun. It lasted a year. There was a little bit of exciting talk. They were talking about possibly sending Travis to the Marshall Islands, which is in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. So I was getting all my fun homeschool mom little radars going for that. But that was 2008. And there was the big economy crash, or whatever you want to call it, after that, where gas, even in rural Virginia, gas went up to well over $5 a gallon, and Travis's contract didn't get renewed. So after that, he was back home, and he got actually the job he got when he got back home was what we had been looking for originally. It was a couple more dollars an hour. To start, it was a better schedule than the job he had back home before. So at that point, I didn't go back to work full-time as a nurse, but I just continued PRN, because usually with PRN, you have to work, we'll say like 1 or 2 days a month, or the equivalent of 1 weekend a month, but there's no pressured hours. And whenever I would work PRN, I would save it and wait for them to be really desperate, and when they would call and say, you know, we'll give you a $100 bonus or a $200 bonus, so I would get my hourly pay plus the bonus. So I wasn't working very much, but I made it the equivalent of working a couple shifts when that would happen. Now this is just a nice comment someone left. We like nice comments. She said, we are enjoying all the recipes and the how-to videos on freezer meals. My first try almost 2 years ago, I was preparing to go on a medical mission, and hubby was staying home with the homeschool kids. You helped me prep a month of freezer meals for them, 30 plus meals. I had peace of mind from the other side of the world. They would not starve. Yes, we all like not starving. See, this is why I always think there's no way I'm ever going to get through 200 questions, but certainly not in one video. Okay, so another mama asked, do I cloth diaper any of my babies? I did cloth diaper. I cloth diapered Gabriel and Liam, because when I had Gabriel and Liam, they were babies number 4 and baby number 5. I was determined to be home and to not work outside the home. Obviously, if you want to work outside the home, or you have to work outside the home, do what you gotta do. I've done what I've had to do. Amen, amen. I felt really strongly that I could stay home. I would just have to be a total master of our budget, and I would have to, like, there could not be one penny that misbehaved. I just had to manage everything very, very well on my end. And so that was back when I learned how to clean with vinegar, and I was buying the big cheap bags of the chicken legs. That's also when I started once a month grocery shopping, because that was the season where I started out. I would have like $250, $300 a month. I mean, high end $400 a month, but that wasn't for a little bit later. There are so many beautiful, like the cute cloth diaper covers and all of that. I just had to go as basic as possible with the cloth diapering. Now I will tell you, one of my friends on Instagram and on YouTube, I don't know if she's doing so much on YouTube yet, but she's on Instagram. Her handle is This Roth Tribe. She sews a lot of her cloth diapers and a lot of the cloth diaper covers. I didn't have that skill then, and at that time I didn't have any time or energy to put into learning that skill. But I found, and I even found this at Walmart, the old-fashioned pre-fold cloths that are, you know, thicker in the end, and I found the plastic pants in various sizes, and I found the diaper pins. And so I had, you know, little ones for newborns all the way up to bigger ones, and both of those boys were cloth diapered for quite a while. And I learned all about washing them and caring for them. And yeah, so I cloth diapered those too. A little later, you know how my story goes, I got into this hobby called blogging. After it was taking more time than a hobby should take, I was like, I need to at least be making my grocery budget money from this hobby. When that took off and doubled my grocery budget, then my gift to myself at that time was Mama's buying diapers. and I've been buying diapers ever since. And honestly, of course I would do it if I had to, but even laundry-wise, with our current little laundry closet setup, I don't want to manage diapers at this time. I like just buying them. It's okay. It's a gift to myself. Okay, I gotta quit my yapping for a minute, and we gotta work on this chili because we do really want to eat it. I like cooking meat in these big pots, but of course when I do my next big freezer cooking day, I'm gonna cook up a bunch. Because picture, if I had a bunch of ground beef already done, a bunch of sausage already done, I could just thrown this in. I was not coordinated enough this morning before church to get anything going. I did pull some beef out. I thought about putting it in the Instant Pot. If I would have thought of my slow cooker, I would have done that, because that's the proper amount of hours. I didn't want to put it in the Instant Pot and be gone and then obviously not get home for hours later. I've got a bunch of onions I'm gonna put in there. Yay. Okay, so, and this is a question I get from time to time. What are you gonna do if one of your children does not want to be homeschooled anymore and wants to attend regular school? Would you support and respect their wishes, or are you gonna talk them out of it? And then she goes on to share, my sister is in that situation at the moment, and it is a real headache for her family. So, here's the thing, I haven't been in that situation, so it's hard for me to like be here firm, standing with my fist that this is what we will always do, this is how we're doing it, nothing's ever gonna change. I love homeschooling. I feel like the Lord guided us to homeschooling back when Jaden was a baby. It is our vision for our family. We think it's important. We love what we're able to pour into our children, the time we're able to pour into our children, the freedom we have, the flexibility we have. I mean, if we want to stay up and play board games until midnight, we have and we do sometimes, we can do it, and it's a blessing. If we want our kids to be in 10 different activities for a season because it's winter and it's freezing outside, we like to spend hours outside, but these kids need to burn off some energy. Guess what? We can put 5 kids in tap and do a bunch of taekwondo and do some dance and do piano. We can do lots of running around. If we want to have a season where we're just home and that's all we want to do, we can do it. So homeschooling has had so many benefits for us. Ultimately, Travis and I believe that our children are our responsibility. And as their parents, we make the best choices that we are empowered to make for them. We believe in parental freedom and parental rights. And so if it was a hard-nosed case of a child wanting to go to public school, well then as their parents, we really need to investigate and find out where the desire is coming from, what is it they need, what are they after, what is their vision for that. We haven't been there. So I'm not an expert on telling you this is exactly what we would do in this future situation, because friend, I'm not there. How many out of the home paid structured classes, lessons, music, sports do your kids do each week, or none? So right now we have a ton going on outside of the home. And again, this is another, you don't know till you're in the season. You know what's right for your family when you're there. And there have been seasons where we had to scale everything back to like bare minimum. We weren't able to do a lot of outside lessons or activities, or we would have one like fall or spring. You know, we'd have 1 or 2 seasons within a 12-month year where during that season, like we did many years, Jaden did Little League football from 5 to 13. So every fall we did football. I look within our area, within our radius, what is available to us. I'm not going to say that I'll never drive 2 hours to get a kid to an event if that's something that they really need, but I look for what can we reasonably tackle or be involved in as a family that's not too far from home. I'm trying to think what else we did. Gymnastics, football, and I was looking into the Kung Fu, and then of course church and youth group, and then homeschool group. And so that was how a lot of our years went. So whenever we moved here, I knew, okay, we have homeschool group, and I knew there was a homeschool sports league. I knew there were other homeschool groups, but it takes a little bit to learn the area. So right off the bat, I found dance, and I put all the kids who were old enough in dance. I tried it with Amelia, Liam, Gabriel, and Naomi at the time, and Liam and Amelia, even 3 years ago, they were just too little. They were not doing well in the classes that I was putting them in, and after a few attempts, it was like, okay, so Naomi did jazz that year, Gabriel did tap, and we did homeschool group, and the older boys had youth group and some other activities. That's all we did that 1 year was dance. But dance, if you have dancing kids, you know between practice and recitals, weekly, and the big show, it's a lot. And then last year we did not end up doing dance. It was one of those things I kept saying, gotta sign us up for dance, gotta sign us up for dance. We just didn't end up doing it. I had also just had Benjamin. What we ended up doing was archery. And archery, the program that we did was over an hour away. I want to say it was an hour and 10, hour and 15 minutes every week, but we did it because I love finding activities that many of the kids can do together. So with archery, we had Liam, who was 7 at the time, all the way up to Jaden, which it was the year he was graduating. They were all able to be in archery together. It was a lot of fun. It was a great program. So starting out this year, we had 5 kids in dance. I got them signed up on time. 3 are in tap, 2 are in jazz. I learned at dance this year that in our area there's a Taekwondo school. And I knew Liam has been waiting for so long to do some sort of martial arts. And so I signed them up fast, quick, and in a hurry for Taekwondo. So we have dance 1 night a week, and then Taekwondo is 2 other nights. Taekwondo has been fantastic, and me always looking for a deal and a bargain. It's $50 for 1 student. You know I'm gonna work any deal I find, right? $50 for 1 student, or $65 for a whole family. So guess what? Whole family is now doing Taekwondo. That's right, you guessed it. So Daniel will be able to start next year when he's 5. Jaden is an adult running his business, got his own projects and other things going on, and Mr. Travis isn't doing any Taekwondo. But even myself included, me, myself, and I, and all the kids ages 5 and up, we are doing Taekwondo as a family. Now we've been doing it a few months. We're not yellow belts yet. We will be one day. And of course the ENFP in me, I'm thinking, I'm gonna get my black belt one day. Since we work from home and we school from home, we're home during the day most days, unless it's a week where, like in my video I shared a few weeks ago, we had a homeschool event at the trampoline park. Very next day, homeschool roller skating party. Some weeks we might have 2 or 3 outside homeschool activities, but more often than not, we're home all day, every day, doing our school, living our life. So the way that our evening activities have worked and with our daily schedule is we're eating from, I have 4 to 5 blocked off as our dinner block. And then at 5, we're leaving for different activities, and then we're all back about 8 or so, a configuration. Taekwondo 2 evenings, dance 1 evening, and then all of Travis's hopes and dreams for a bazillion years. He loves basketball. In high school, he played basketball. In college, he played basketball. He also did football, and that's why he can hardly walk most days now. But basketball was his thing. He has wanted for years for the kids to play basketball, and all the basketball programs before that I had found were like the football schedule, where there was practice like 4 nights a week or 5 nights a week plus games. I could do it in the fall, even when Travis was working for football, but once football was done, you know, you go hard, it seems like July, August, all the way through November, and then basketball would start, and I could not do the hardcore running and game schedules in sports back-to-back like that when Travis was working all the time. I know Upwards Sports is a program all across the country. I had several homeschool friends who have told me that their kids have loved the Upwards Sports Winter Basketball program. So that is the program that we're doing. What's nice about that is kids only have practice 1 night a week, and then they have games on Saturday. So younger kiddos have basketball 1 night a week, and then older kiddos have basketball 1 night, and then everyone has games on Saturday. So our weeks look like Monday evening we have an activity, Tuesday evening, Thursday evening, Friday evening, games on Saturday. Then we have 1 day a week where a teen is doing piano. So it sounds like a lot, it is a lot, but I can only balance it with it's working for us at this time. Again, it is winter. You know, if it's not winter, we're outside for hours a day. Okay, here's another homeschool focused question. So a mama says, this is Mallory Family Adventures on Instagram. She says, I would love to hear more about your co-op. Still shopping around. So, homeschool co-op. So what we do, it's not even a homeschool co-op. That's why I always call it homeschool group. In my mind, what a homeschool co-op is when moms purposefully get together to teach a variety of subjects. My only experience really looking into it was when we almost did classical conversations this year. It has a whole academic plan laid out for the year. We would have gone on Fridays, we would have had a class day together, and we would have got a lot of our work for the following week. And then we would have done that work Monday through Thursday at home, and then gone back for our co-op day on Friday. And that's a great way to do it. We even have some family members who do classical conversations and love it, and I know there's several viewers here who they do it and they love it. So I'm not anti-co-op. My homeschool group that we have been in for 13 years is more of an enrichment group. We pick a theme for the year. The moms get together and pick a theme. We have a meeting every month, and it's like a long day. It's like 9 to 2. I think we're usually home by 3. So we get the feeling of being in a homeschool group all day. We have a lot of friends there. We know a lot of families there. And so we have our theme for the year. One year at some point in homeschool group history, it was famous artist. So every month for that year when we would come for our meeting, the first half in the morning from, I think we would start about 10 and it would go to 11:30, 11:45-ish. The classes were all divided up by age and grades, and then it would be a focused time learning about that particular artist. Then we all come together for lunch and have a big, all the families together lunch. For many years we did a potluck, and I love everybody bringing something like a big church potluck. I just think it's a lot of fun. And then we usually have like some playground time, and then we have a club time. And so we've had years where we have jewelry making club, auto maintenance club, indoor outdoor games club, Lego club. I've been in Lego club since the beginning, you know, mom of 6 boys. And so Lego club for many years, science club, we've had writing club. So after the morning classes and after lunch and after playtime, then it's club time where the kids go. So that group has been a lot of fun, and it's a perfect balance of, you know, the one day is always a very full day, and I think if we had that full day every week, it would be too much. It would feel like too much to me. We would just honestly end up missing a lot, and that's one of the reasons why I shared we decided to not do classical conversations this year, because when I got to looking at schedules, I thought we very well could miss a third of the meetings, and co-ops can end up getting quite expensive, especially like I was going to have 6 kids in various levels there, and so it's going to be several $1,000s. And so when it ends up costing that much, you don't want to miss any time, right? So that's how our main group works. We also usually have a field trip of some sort every month. We go to it if we can. We also usually have a mom's night out where like all the mamas get together at a restaurant and we just have a good old time. I think it starts at 7. Many times I'm not leaving there. You want to talk about staying up late. I mean, we're still talking at 11:30 at night and drinking tea and coffee. It's a great time. The other group, the third, so yes, that's 3 groups. But again, none of these are weekly. The one group we definitely go to every month. The other 2 groups, we usually pick something that they are providing information for or offering. One mama to another asked, how do you help older children ages 10 plus find and create friendships when homeschooling, especially when you don't live near other homeschoolers or activities? I think as mamas, it's our job to help them cultivate those friendships. I know we ended up doing a youth group that wasn't even at our home church because my son had several really good friends in that group, and they were going to the meeting every week, and they were doing campouts and doing outreaches and doing other activities. It was really important to cultivate those friendships and give them that great buddy time together. I ran him to a youth group that was out of my way every week for a while, for I don't know, maybe 2 years until he was driving. And then part of his driving with his learners time was driving mama to his youth group every Sunday night. And I would sit in the car and I would do some of my online work. He'd go in and have his youth group for a few hours and other activities with them. So that's just like a small example of ways that I've stretched and helped. Even though it was taking up my time, I was helping him get time in with his friends. Also, we've done a lot of hosting at our house where we will have a couple families, like those same friends, particular families, we would have them all over. All the kids could have a great time. The older boys could do their older boy activities in the field, pick and choose your older boy activities, and different moms and I would take turns hosting those fun get-together times. Okay, this question, it pains me to even read this. Oh, are you ready? Ready for pain? From one homeschooling book lover to another, how do you decide what curriculum and homeschooling books to keep and what to pass on? I'm always thinking somebody might use it someday. Oh. So this weekend, and I shared it. I shared this in my Instagram stories. I thought later, Jamerrill, you could have done a video about this, but I didn't. I didn't do it. So follow me on Instagram. The link will be in the description below. Excuse me while I'm talking real loud. I'm gonna get the celery. Hidden celery in the chili here. So I just did this the other day. There's some new things I want to implement in our homeschool, and I was moving around our bookshelves, getting some new notebooks together. I was just all fired up to do some switching up. You know how it goes, homeschool moms, you know. All fired up and inspired. So I got looking at my shelves and I'm like, that Matthew C., which Matthew C., by the way, not sponsored. It's a great math curriculum. We've used it for several kids, several years. No, super. But I'm not married to nothing but Travis, right? Right, okay. So I had several, how many levels? I think I had 4 different levels of Matthew C. sitting on my shelf, almost taking up a whole shelf, just looking at me. And the bookshelf was talking to me. The bookshelf was saying, you could have this whole bookshelf. kids could put Lego displays on this shelf, but instead you're holding on to Matthew C curriculum that you haven't used. And I'm thinking we probably haven't done Matthew C or any Matthew C things in at least 2 years. I tore up our whole schoolroom, the homeschool dining room. Yes. And I just started pulling things off the shelves that we haven't used in about 2 years. I had some beautiful Apologia general science curriculum, several things I've picked up and held on to that I thought we might use and we haven't. And I had one of my dining room chairs. I mean, it was as tall as me, stacked. If you go to my Insta stories, I guess, if you go to my little buttons and click homeschool, it'd probably be one of the videos that plays. Just this weekend, I did that. I haven't done that in a long time. I will not purge chapter books. You can't make me do it. I don't care who you are. I will not purge chapter books. So with the chapter books, what I did is anything I had double and triple copies of, because I will hold on to a double copy if I get it, thinking, oh, I may end up having 2 kids who want to read this at the same exact time. That doesn't really happen. And I have a girlfriend who I always give her my double copies, or if I get a triple copy, I'll give it to one friend and then pass it the third on to another friend. And I thought it's time to do that again. And you'll be proud of me, even with all my book hauls, I think I had 10 double copies, all that curriculum and the chapter books. And I posted pictures in my main homeschool group, and I said, I got this. I'm not selling it, but I need it to go. Because whenever you give homeschool curriculum to a thrift store, even though I love to find it at a thrift store, I just feel like thrift stores in general don't know what to do with it. And brand new, never used Apologia General Science with the brand new notebook for that science that's never been used, that's gold. That's homeschool mama gold. And even if I wanted that general science in another year or 2, I would just get it again. And if another mom can use it right now, and if I need my shelf, so that was my thinking. Okay, so another mama asked, she said, I would love to know about what curriculum you use and when you start formal homeschool. We are currently homeschooling preschool, so looking ahead. So for starting formal homeschooling, it's the typical around age 5. Of course, Daniel, he's 4. He's already homeschooling. He's in a homeschooling family, and it really does become a lifestyle. So he's very accustomed now at a young age to going on field trips and doing read-alouds and being part of science experiments and taking nature walks and doing nature journaling and those fun adventures. What I tell mamas, if they want to order a curriculum and have it delivered to their door, I've always loved My Father's World, and I've always loved Sunlight. I can't take any curriculum and do it start to finish exactly how they say. I'm just not a rule follower in that way. But those are awesome curriculums, and if you just do the things that they have planned out, it will be a wonderful year. I always end up adding more to it. If it's a particular time period, we're doing notebooking, or I'm getting lap books, I'm setting up field trips. I mean, that's what we're supposed to do. I don't think the heart of any of those curriculums in particular are for you to never go off the page and add more to it. I feel like somewhere in here, some people have asked me how the Sunlight is going for this year, so I'm just gonna make up that question because I know several of you have asked me. So, Sunlight this year, awesome. Me, totally off their reading plan, way ahead in the books, adding in other books, doing my own thing with Sunlight as the base. So that's like my little commercial for Sunlight. Okay, so things are getting real with this chili. I better start adding beans and things in. Okay, another mama asked, when and how do you structure Bible time so the whole family is involved? Are there certain gospels you research? How long is Bible time? So, Bible time always ends up taking a long time in a good way. Whenever we read the Bible, we end up having spontaneous discussions, sometimes going off and looking up other verses. We talk about all the things, which I think is a huge part of education. In our Bible time, we all take turns reading the Bible. I still, for years, if you've been around a while, you know what I'm going to say, I still read and reread that Jesus Freaks book. just move on over with these cans. Okay, and then another mom asked, what do I use for daily devotions for you and the younger kids? So for my daily devotions, I read my Bible and I do a lot of journaling. And then with the younger kids, we have like children's Bibles, but I don't have anything in particular at this time. We have used some of character concepts. So another mama asked, how do you homeschool for all the different ages you have? I just recently found your YouTube channel. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so I know many moms in many situations who do a lot of what I call like one-room schoolhouse type learning, where we are doing our bulk things together, and then we have independent learning time where kids actually work on the reading, the writing, and the math that they are working on. And I walk around the table or walk around the counter and such out here and work with them one-on-one and as they need it. But we have a big bulk time where, and I also call it our read aloud time, where we're doing many subjects together as a family. And then another mama asked, she said, any curriculum you would recommend for a preschooler? My daughter hates coloring and her attention span isn't long. She is just 4, but many homeschoolers that I have spoken to are able to school for an hour or more. I'm lucky if it's 30 minutes. We read a ton, but she doesn't seem interested in worksheets. Do you have any children like that? I don't think a curriculum is necessary, especially for that preschool age. I think whatever you're doing for 30 minutes and reading a lot and being with mama and doing Mr. Rogers type field trips is plenty for 4. And another mom asked, she said, do you do much online curriculum? Thinking about switching to teaching textbooks online for our math. I've had kids that have used teaching textbooks. I have one who really liked it, used it a lot. That was before it was online though. We did the CDs. I had another who used it for a little bit, just didn't work well for that kiddo. I have some other kids that I may end up using teaching textbooks for at a certain point. We're doing more like math in a book right now during this time. Actually, all the kids, all the math, high school math, all of it is being done textbook wise right now. But I think teaching textbooks is great. I know a lot of families who use it. I'm still opening cans of tomatoes here. I'm gonna get this tomato paste in. I think that answers a lot of the homeschool questions that I've received. Oops, hold on, let me fight with this can opener for a minute. So I'm gonna keep working on this chili, and I'm actually going to just, while I'm cooking, yeah, I just did all that parsley in there. It's like half a thing of parsley. And yeah, I'll see you probably tomorrow with another brand new video. Bye-bye.